When my wife came home that evening, I could feel something different in the air, a heaviness she tried to hide behind a tired smile. I watched her slip off her shoes, avoiding my eyes as she moved around the living room. I had been waiting all day, rehearsing the question in my mind. When she finally sat down across from me, I asked gently, "Do you have something to tell me?" Her hands froze mid-movement, and I knew I was right to ask. She hesitated before answering, her gaze dropping to the floor. A long silence stretched between us, one that held all the truths she was afraid to say. I already knew what she was hiding, but I wanted her to say it, not to hurt her, but to free myself from the weight of pretending everything was normal. When she finally whispered, "I'm sorry," I felt a strange mixture of anger and relief. It wasn't the confession I expected, but it was a beginning. She tried to explain herself, offering reasons that sounded like excuses. She talked about feeling lonely, misunderstood, and overwhelmed. I listened quietly, because at that point, nothing she said could change the fact that she had broken something between us. She cried, waiting for me to comfort her like I always did. But this time I stayed still. What she didn't know was that I had already set my own plan into motion. I wasn't planning to scream, throw things, or beg her to stay faithful. My revenge wasn't about hurting her the way she hurt me. It was about reclaiming my dignity and giving her exactly what she feared the most, calm acceptance. I stood up without raising my voice and told her I understood. The shock in her eyes told me she expected anger, not quiet detachment. The next morning, I surprised her again. I made breakfast, packed a small bag, and told her I would be staying at a friend's place for a few days. She panicked immediately, asking if I was leaving her. I simply said I needed space to think. The truth was, I wanted her to feel the emptiness she had created, not through punishment, but through my absence. During those days away, I focused on myself. I went to the gym, reconnected with old friends, and allowed myself to breathe without her shadow hovering over me. For the first time in months, I felt free. She called and texted constantly, her messages shifting from guilt to fear to desperation. But I didn't respond. Not yet. When I returned home, she ran to me as if I had been gone for years. She promised to change, to fix things, to be the woman I deserved. I listened quietly again, letting her pour out her heart. When she finished, I told her calmly that I had already made my decision. I wanted a separation, not out of spite, but because I finally realized I deserved a love that didn't make me question my own worth. She broke down, realizing her mistake too late. I wasn't proud of her pain, but I didn't feel guilty either. Sometimes the deepest revenge isn't shouting or punishing. It's walking away before someone gets the chance to break you again. As I packed the last of my things, I felt lighter than I had in years. She watched from the doorway, crying silently, knowing she had lost me not because I stopped loving her, but because I finally started loving myself. And that, in the end, was the revenge she never saw coming.